to The Balancing Act. Now here's your hosts, Jamie Wonko and Joe Vitale.
Okay, and welcome back to the Balancing Act podcast. I'm fried.
I mean, welcome back. Hello, Mr.
Welcome
Vitale.
back. Well, yeah, welcome back. It's good to see you, my friend. We are at the precipice of the end of the school year. We're still figuring out our summer schedule, folks. We don't know
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. But we are literally at the end of the school year here in New Jersey, for those of you that maybe listen to us out of another state.
Yes.
So we'd like to welcome you back to the Balancing Act podcast, where we talk about all things that are, keeping us busy these days.
Keeping us busy. Yeah. So
You had a fun day yesterday.
I had a fun day yesterday. Yeah. So, at the end of the year, there's usually a lot of trips. There are, I think, two really different types of teachers. You either love a trip or you, as someone said to me yesterday, I'd rather have my molars pulled out than do this. Which is so interesting.
Off camera, I will ask you who said that, and I think I can get it right.
All right, I hope you guessed correctly, but yeah. Yes. So I am one of the I love it. So I love a good trip. I love an adventure. I love really anything that breaks me out of the monotony and the mundane day-to-day of school is really for me. I absolutely love seeing the world through the kids' eyes, teaching them proper experiences and behaviors and how to walk and look and go and do. And so we ended up taking this really great trip, and the kids were very well behaved. What did John Paul Gonzalez? It's a quote I have on my phone. You don't rise to the level. I'm going to find it, actually. Give me a second, because maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was somebody else. But I thought that it's such a great quote. And here it is. You don't rise to the level of the event. You fall to the level of your preparation.
I don't think John Paul said that, but okay. I do. I can almost hear him saying that.
Yeah, it was from January 27th. 2022, and it was at 9:30 in the morning. So I suspect that was one of the trainers from the Sidekicks program had to have said that, and they had quoted a Navy SEAL, and it is so true. It's a lot of times our expectations of children are, or like there's chatter of like, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, and really it's so much better than that. You get to really see them in these types of situations where they really do. Show you, what they can do and the positive side of it. But it was terrific, and we had a great time. And the kids now go on another trip, and so yeah. So I was on the not going. I was in one of those situations. So I was not going, then I was going, then I was not going. And then going.
I do kind of wish that each grade had their own kind of culminating activity at the end of the year. I realize that like you teach 8th grade, I teach 7th grade. Okay. So I realize that the 8th graders, they get the thing and the dance and the graduate promotion and all the other stuff. Right. But it would be nice if each grade had their own.
We always did that in my former school. We always had an end of the year celebration. So we took a fall trip and we took an end of the year trip.
Yeah, and I know in the social studies department we do trips that are organized.
Those are great. Those are fantastic.
By DeGraw Destinations for all your school travel needs. LLC. Incorporated. So I would not be opposed to doing that. I think it needs to be something. And again, the trips that we do in the social studies department are we're going to the State House in New Jersey, and we're visiting the legislative chambers, and we're doing Make a Law, and we're seeing a museum, which is again all great. However, I think it would be good to do some kind of culminating activity at the end of the year, but it also leads to someone having to plan it. And I think that we're lacking someone that can actually, not someone that can do that, but someone that's willing to do that and put in the time and the effort and the energy in putting something together.
I think if they left it up to grade levels, I think groups of people would get together and do it.
I would hope so.
I did it I was just telling one of the teachers on our trip yesterday, because she said, would you like to do this? How would you even start? And I said, I have planned more trips in my years as a teacher than.
Did you tell them no? Please tell me you told them. Did you tell them no? Did you say no?
I mean, she was like looking at me. It's funny because it's like, it's as if, they always say like, oh, each year is a new, like a new chapter of a book or, a new opportunity. This move for me has been like volume 87, but like all the other books were lost. So it's very strange to have like
interesting analogy. Okay.
Like no identity because there is no background really for, what you're capable of doing or what you have done in the past. So my former life as like the leader for like over 10 years of a group of 20 people, and there were 3 of us and we were each in charge of a grade level. We did everything, every single event that you could possibly imagine that needed a schedule, to the point where we even did the teachers' coverages. So if we were going on a trip, we had to plan how many kids do you have? What rooms are you in? We did all of that, like soup to nuts, everything, calling transportation, getting the buses, calling the place, going to the bank. I mean, I lost countless hours of my life standing in the bank line waiting for them to fix the dollar counter because someone had stapled their child's money to the permission slip, and that staple went, and got caught in the machine. We went to we did the banking. We did everything.
And
we did everything.
We did not in the buildings that I was in. There came a point where they had teams in our school district. They got rid of teams. We had team leaders that would then plan graduation, promotion, field day, all that stuff. And when those teachers were not being compensated for those activities anymore, they said, we're not doing them. So I was asked to do that because I had, good organizational skills. So I would do the end of the year activities with the 8th grade. We'd sit down and come up with a schedule of field day, the dance, when those things were going to happen, and also, adjust schedules accordingly. We didn't do things like go to the bank and do stuff like that, but we did, we did the planning part of it. And it's not that I'm opposed to doing that now. It's just, I don't want to do that. I want to say this. Just let me state for the record, I'm done. Yes.
I will say,
it's not that I don't want to. You also planned all those trips for the trips and the excursions and all that stuff. You did that stuff for your school, but then, once your children were of children's age and they were in elementary school, you were the PTO president, mom, grand poobah person, and planning all those things. And no,
it's not the planning that bothers me. It's not the planning. It's
then
not
what
the
bothers
planning, the complaining.
From
the naysayers who are the do-nothings. They are the first
I
don't
want to throw my coworkers under the bus or former coworkers, but like, yes, that became a huge sticking point where like everyone would have something to say about how it was run, how it was done, how the schedule was. Why wasn't I doing this? We could have done. Well, then please feel free to get involved and help.
Oh, yes.
But when
toxic
people
will have a problem for every solution.
Yeah. And I've always been the kind of person to, if I have a particular issue with something, I always come with some kind of solution to the table. There have been times this year where here's a problem I'm having, and I don't know how to solve it. Where I've been looking for advice from multiple people about how to best handle a situation with a student, a parent, a conflict that arises, and just things I haven't experienced before. But I've also, like, I guess I've hardened myself to the idea of the complaining, I guess. And I just I think I'm better at tuning it out than I think I am.
When you don't, when you're not the person who is doing all the planning, like in my new experience the last year, as a mom, and in the last 2 years as a teacher, my experience is that, it doesn't hit you when you're hearing issues or things that are going on. It just doesn't hit you because it's not so personal. I was, and I have a pretty thick skin. I'm not really one to, care, like, oh, they're looking at me, or like, oh, what are they saying about me? It's not even that. It's just after a while, it just becomes soul draining. Because it's generally from the people who want to tell you that they could do it better than you do it. and they didn't even go to the meeting about it.
Yeah.
And
not only that, but
so delusional.
There came a point where I was setting up I was doing charity basketball games. And by the way, I don't know a damn thing about basketball. And we would do that because that was meeting the kids where they are, and they wanted to do a faculty student basketball game and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we would do that, and we were raising money for, in the name of a young man that had passed away in the old school that I used to work in. And I never once got a thank you. No one. Now, and that's not what I was doing it for. But it would have been nice for someone to be like, hey, you know what? Thanks for taking the time that wasn't my night duty. And again, a lot of times contracts. Oh, wait a minute. Did you see what I just saw?
Bubble, pop.
I just did a thumbs up on this. We use an app called StreamYard. I did a thumbs up, and a thumbs up thing popped up.
Thumbs up.
People, you got to follow me on the YouTubes. I don't know what's going on here. It's not working.
That was magic.
I have other gestures I want to do.
Double.
I kind of want to
do double. See if it'll give you 2.
Oh my God, it's fireworks! What is going on? Okay, I'm being loud. My wife's going to come out and yell at me. I just did a thing.
That was really exciting.
Oh my God, it's fireworks. You guys have to watch this on YouTube. It's the 11-minute mark.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Right.
And I did two thumbs up. And a thing happened.
I think it was when you threw your hands in the air. Throw your hands in the air.
Woo! Am I doing? I don't know. I'm now there's a lot of things happening that I did not know where. Okay, StreamYard.
Wow.
I see you, StreamYard, with new things.
The duck is a quacking.
The duck. So anyway, as I now got excited, it would have been, again, it would have been nice to have someone come up to you. And again, what I was saying was that wasn't my night duty. And look, as teachers, we have 2 obligated night duties in the district that I work in. And I'm not complaining about them. We have to go to back to school night, and then we have to sign up for an event, which is awesome that we get to choose which one we want to go to.
That is amazing. That is a great thing.
Which I greatly appreciate because I get to look at my schedule and choose which one I want to go to. And also, I actually like going. I go to the winter concert every year. Our band leader does a great job. The choir director, Jason, Mr. Tomaszewski, is just incredible. He does such a nice job with the kids. The kids are so into it, and they're practicing all the time. Yeah. And I just love going because it's such it's a packed house, and everyone is there, and everyone wants to be there. And it really is a great event. But anyway, you do some things, you show up and you go and you do things and you volunteer your time. And it would be nice for someone to say, hey, thanks for doing that. Yeah. And it's not that doesn't happen now. It's just, it didn't happen earlier in my career. And it kind of made me
grumpy,
jaded towards
the idea of,
I see that. Why am I going to do that? Why am I going
to? For a long time, it was we were a team, and so there was a group of us that would do it, and we were, and it was all right. And for a very long time, it was okay because seeing the children and then the other teachers, the staff members, and it was okay. More of my probably complaining situation was more as a parent than anything else, but not necessarily as a teacher. I just felt that I, and I don't know. I mean, I still have to work, God willing, another 10 years. So I feel like I, have some things left, to do, or some things left to go. Just for now, what my leaving buildings was, I'm only doing things that I am really drawn to do, and that I'm personally compelled to show up for. Every season, I go to at least one game of each sport. And nobody asks me to do, I do that because the kids love to see, and then we have something to talk about. And I just think it's a great thing to do. But nobody's making me do that. I do it because I feel compelled to do it. I want to do it. Just right now, I'm taking this course through the state and through Stockton University, because I am compelled to do it. And, I've had a couple people no, that's crazy. And that's really why you're doing that, because I want to, I want to do it.
And I have to be honest, and I know the course that you're taking, it's regarding teaching ELL students and strategies to do so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to be very honest, I too would like to do that.
Yeah.
However,
Well, it's a
I am,
self-guided course. Yeah, it's
yeah,
self-guided,
I'm
and they
just,
give you, like, 6 months to do it, and it's only 15 hours. So, I'm already like, just kinda, like, here and there on my prep time, or if I'm covering classes, like, here and there, I've already completed 25% of it, and I
mhm,
haven't really, really sat down to, like, really get I don't know, and also there's no test.
yeah,
That's the other part of, like, all the learning for me. I'm at the point now where I will sit and listen. I will go through. I will hear. I will take with it, take from it what I think is applicable for me. But when it comes to having to, like, write a paper or take a test or like those, I don't want to.
yeah.
So that's the other part of it. Like, oh, it's free and I'll sign up for it and I can do it in a self-paced way on my own. Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, and as we
Yeah.
approach the end of yet another school year,
Yeah.
those are things that like I would love to do in preparation for next year, but I also know that like mentally I'm at capacity because for a variety of reasons, right? It has been a challenging year for a number of reasons. Due to some personal obligations, due to my own children's schedule and watching them, and of course wanting to be around for the things that they're doing. Also, just the everyday pace of life, right? I just know that taking something on right now is not something I'm willing to do, even though I have 6 months to do it
Yeah.
and stuff
So
like that. I
I
just said, you
mean,
know what?
you're red
Not my
light.
time right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, right
absolutely.
now,
You're red light.
absolutely.
That's
Right now,
okay.
end of the year, I
Yeah.
get to that point.
I
Um,
have, some of these students that it's kind of, I've gotten to the point where it's like bothering me. Like, geez, here I am at the end of the year. I always do like the exit survey at the end of the semester, end of the school, end of the year. And so I try to do that for myself as well. And I, kind of, geez, what did I miss this year? Or like, what could I have done better? And really for the last 2 years, I kind of thought moving to a bilingual or, ELL, MLL, they're all, interchangeable at this point, situations with our students that are English as a second language learners or mixed language learners. They call them like all of those things. But anyway, I felt like, geez, I still am not, after now my second full year, I'm still just not sure. Is there more that I could be doing? Am I reaching them in the right way? Am
mhm.
I, that was just like a thing for me. And so, it was just some like an area of interest, but, there's not, meaningful PD comes at different times for everybody. It's not, there's nothing wrong when you're not feeling like you can do it.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree with that sentiment whatsoever.
Yeah.
What are some things that you this year are either looking forward to, what are you looking forward to ending this year? Because like we always look at the school year and we in our profession get the ability to like hit the reset button in September and start over with a new group of kids and do things differently. But what are you happy that's like, okay, I'm kind of glad that that's over and behind me at this point?
Are you talking about in my classroom?
Sure, it
Like,
could be.
in my classes?
Yeah,
Not a single thing.
really.
There's not a single thing that I have I can't even explain how many of the students that I've had this year I really, really like
Hmm.
and have such like respect and admiration for, and have heard like just like the most amazing stories of their families and their immigration stories and their culture and their background and just everything. I will say there are two boys that I think were vaping, and I wish I could have caught them. So like I'll put that on my list of like, oh, were you vaping? I feel like I could have caught them, and they, but I didn't, or they were doing something, and I just could never like put my finger on what that was. But I have to say, for having 97 eighth graders, some of them, and a few of them in and a few of them out, and different kids and changeovers, and many of them have about how many? I want to say I have about 12 kids that are multilingual. They are just amazing and lovely. I I have to say I was genuinely sad when I thought that I wasn't going on the class trip yesterday because I was so looking forward to seeing them and
In a
how
different environment. Yeah.
Well, no, they want you to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so happy for you to see them. And I was so sad at the thought of like other people getting to go and like see them and be with them. And not me. It was really like, and it was like, I'm trying to do the self-talk of like, you're an adult and like, get over it. Like, it's fine. But we kind of invested quite a bit, like I feel like in our interpersonal relationships. Oh, hey boys.
I honestly think there's a lot going on here today between the thumbs up not happening and the fireworks. I think a bird just flew. I literally think a bird just flew into our front door. I think a bird just flew into our front door.
Like in the house?
I don't know. Like, yes, at my house. I just heard a big thud. I want to go look at like the Ring doorbell and see if a bird. There's a lot going on today. I am looking forward to the transition and ending of Skibbidy Toilet Riz, Ohio. That's what I'm looking at.
Or my personal favorite, which I say at home all the time, gyat.
Yeah, that's your jam.
My own kids are like, stop saying that. If you don't know, gyat comes from the Jamaican for God damn it. And it really means like a big juicy booty.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And if you didn't know, Riz means charisma. And as Colin Jost poignantly said on a Weekend Update joke, if you got to look it up, you ain't got it. But he used another word in there, which I don't want to put on. This goes on the YouTubes. I don't want us to be banned. So yeah, look, no, as far as there's things I want to do differently next year. I am in regards to the year ending. You know, I always like to kind of take stock on what I did well. I think that, you know, I did a lot more engaging material. I stayed away from the endless gamification of our profession and using, you know, Gimkit and Kahoot and Blickit and you know, Note and all the other ones that we have now. I tried to stay away from those tools as much as possible and do things in a more traditional manner, which I think had both positive and negative effects, which I want to look at and really analyze and see what I want to do for next year. And I'm also excited. I'm co-teaching an in-class resource class with a teacher for 2 periods, which I think will be exciting. I haven't done it in a few years, and I always like a different perspective and someone's different take on things.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss my in-class support teacher this year.
Yeah, shout out to Tony. Who is wonderful.
I learned so many things from her, and I've had quite a few in-class support teachers over the years, and many of them are wonderful and gifted and amazing. But she should. I've said this to her, and then she was just like, "Stop! Oh, don't see it." But I say it all the time anyway, because I really truly believe, like, if you love someone, you tell them you love them. If you think they're fantastic, you tell them. And so I like to give praise because I think it's important. And I tell her all the time, you should teach other people.
Oh my God,
how to do this.
Yeah.
She really, you know, takes initiative and just gets in there and like whatever the lesson. And it's especially like, you know, coming from people who are like not I'm not a history person, or I'm not a math person, or, you know, people kind of go by those like labels depending on their subject areas and what they're most comfortable with. But she is a teaching person. And
which is very good at it.
And really.
So I mean, and yeah, that's the old rose and thorn, peach in the pit, right? You know, that's something.
You fall in love with someone and then they just get ripped right from your arm.
Well, unfortunately, as we know, schedules, student needs change. You know, people's placements change, and it's unfortunate that they're breaking up a team that is effective.
Yeah.
However.
No,
it's
I mean,
not because it's like, we don't like you. Yeah, you know that. I mean, it's just.
I know that. I just feel, you know, but also I will say I'm extremely appreciative that I got to meet her, because I believe that we will remain very good friends. You know, we have a lot in common. We vibe. It's just an easy, you know, relationship. And so I'm very lucky to have had this year with her, not just for all the things that I learned being with her, but also, you know, I'm going to try not to cry. No, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's.
But I get it. Them's the breaks, kid. I know.
Yeah, which I understand.
Yeah.
Things are constantly changing in our profession. And that can cause an undue amount of stress. But, I really try to compartmentalize and put things aside when the school year ends and say, okay, I'll start looking at and pick things up at the end of August when my brain starts going to nesting mode and I need to get myself prepared.
Yeah.
For an upcoming school year. So I'm kind of looking forward to testing myself with that again. I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but I want to make sure that I'm, not overtaxing myself and really taking a moment to, I've used my word all year, being intentional. I want to make sure that I purposely am taking time to step aside and make sure that I'm focusing on the things that I enjoy doing with my family, with my friends, things like that. Which I think are important. I mean, same for you. I mean, I know you're looking forward to last day of school and hitting the road, right?
Teaching, not teaching. I got my shirt already.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't hear that. That's a new one.
Teaching, not teaching. Oh yeah, I bought it last year. I wore it last year, but I think it's always an ongoing process, and people who don't analyze what they did or what worked or what didn't work, or how it can be made better, different. I mean, I've had some years where it's ooh, I was a terrible version of myself this year, and that's, just the way that it goes. But especially, for anybody who's been in it as long as we have. But yeah, I'm definitely, there were a few lessons this year that I was wow, this is great. And there, a few things that, it was all right, we tried it. It didn't work, or, or do you have a delivery for me? Can I have it?
Special delivery.
Push the door.
This is a special thing. If you're on YouTube, you're going to see a special delivery that's coming through. What are you getting? Dinner or a picture of?
Oh, thank you. No, I have to read you because you asked me how, looking back on this year. And so our 8th grade teachers, one of our 8th grade language arts teachers, she has the kids write a letter to any of a teacher of their choice. And so I got this letter. I think it will probably go down in history as the nicest letter I've ever gotten from a student. And I feel like everything that she put into this letter was exactly what I tried to do.
That's great.
And you don't always know if it's hitting. You know what I mean? You think you're doing something and you're not always sure. And so here is this 8th grade child who wrote, so she made this card, and I'm going to read it. Is that all right with you, Mr. Vitale?
That is wonderful for me.
Okay. I'm going to try not to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to say I'm not going to cry.
If you do cry, I just want it to be an ugly cry.
All right. That's all I got these days is ugly cries.
I heard it.
Yes. Dear Mrs. Wanko, you've made a huge impact on my perspective of school. You've made my year go by wonderfully due to the constant effort you make. You've ensured that your students have an eventful, great year, and that doesn't go unnoticed. I love how you give everybody an opportunity to talk. I look up to you and highly appreciate all you do. Your teaching ethics also help me more, and I thank you for that. Your respectful questions and way of communicating with students has given me an insight on a healthy platonic relationship. You've always been generous enough to share your resources, and I don't think you know how much this means to your students. In a way, you're a mother figure to most of us. The affection and attention you give us is heartwarming, and I'm grateful to spend my year with you.
That's beautiful. And she's not ugly crying.
I had to put it away. I read it. And I had to put it away because I was because and so she and I, this was a couple days ago, and she and I spoke about it today. And I said, your letter just blew me away. I said, and it was really it really touched me. I will keep it forever. And she said no, and she wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit more. And I said, I have really, and I deeply, deeply believe this. And if you do not have emotional wellness and mental health, you don't have a high EQ. If you are not someone who is equipped to handle the things that life is throwing at you, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter the money. It doesn't matter the smarts. It doesn't matter the classes. It doesn't matter, because if you do not have emotional health, you are in trouble no matter what.
Yeah.
And, and so
right.
I feel like I want to just be a safe space for these kids as possible, because especially with our new schedule this year, it was a lot coming at them.
Yeah, I think I agree. I also think that the ones that did not write that letter, still have an affinity and affection towards, you, the way you teach, the kind of person that you are. But also, if I think if some of them knew what was going on behind the scenes, the things that we've talked about and some of the stuff that we have not, they might even be like, oh, it's surprising how put together she actually is.
It's funny. I was kind of thinking.
I don't mean that in a derogatory way whatsoever.
I actually have to say, I was thinking the other day that I might share a little bit with this group this year, just because I want them to know how much I appreciate how kind and generous they were to me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes with kids, it's like you give and you are generous and kind, and they just like crap all over you. Like it just kind of depends on like the class. But I felt like this year I really wanted to create a rapport and an environment of respect. And it got to the point where I genuinely would say to them, like, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know who you think is in front of you, but maybe stop, maybe don't, and they would kind of click and just stop. I never really had to say much more than like, come, that, so I don't know, maybe I just got really lucky, like with my combinations of kids and all of that stuff. However, I will say that I keep thinking like maybe I will say something to them, because I feel like it would be an honest look. This is what happened. This is what's happening. And, I do appreciate all of you for the things that are really hard in your lives, but you came and you tried, and, and a lot of them shared with me things that
it also allows them to understand that like there are things that every single person comes and walks through the door with that they bring with them every day.
Oh yes.
But and I have them, you have them, but we can't let that like affect the things that we do with our students each and every day. That's going to shine through in some way.
That's right.
Whether it be positive or negative. So, and look, my main thing that I focused on this year is accountability, is consistency, in making sure. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just making sure that I'm following through on the things that I say, holding through on standards from start to finish throughout the entire year.
Yes.
And I have students that respected that, because I think that they were starting to see like, oh, okay, if I do what I'm supposed to, I'm going to ultimately find success.
Yeah.
It's not just about
doing to click for them at that age too, though.
It does. It clicks for them more. It clicks for them more in the 8th grade than it does in the 7th grade.
100%.
Yes, because I find it. One of the best years I had was actually like during COVID. I had this group of students that were just like, and some of them still message me every once in a while and just, check in and be like, oh, I remember your class. We used to laugh about.
Oh, I remember that class you had during COVID.
Yeah, they were.
You loved them. I remember that. Yeah.
They were my wife had visited a local high school with our dog where those kids kind of go to. And one of them was like, hey, are you blah, blah, Mr. Vitale's wife? And they're like, oh, we used to have so much fun in this class and talking about this and talking about that. And I was like, I don't remember names. Like I remember names, but not faces, because there's been so many. I know, which is not good.
You know what's crazy? COVID names are. There's something really strange about not having met people like in person. That I don't know why. Also, when we had half year classes, it was a lot harder to. I remember that like from teaching language arts.
Yeah.
We have them all year long. And now I feel like this year's kids going back to, for the first time, having kids for the full year. And I haven't had kids full year in about 10 years. I think it'll be completely different.
I agree.
Remembering
I think
them.
Listen, and let's be honest. I think there are some kids that are like ready to be like, I'm done with this guy.
Same.
Yeah, but there are others that, like, again, we're not everybody's favorite flavor of ice cream. But it is, and you're never going to be. So,
and I tell them that all the time, like, and it's okay. It's okay if I'm not the teacher that you are most excited to see. It's okay. You don't have to like everyone, and everyone doesn't have to like you.
Yep.
But you do have to have an open heart, open mind, and have respect for the people that are around you, and also have enough respect for yourself to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that, you will never have everybody like you. And trying to strive for that, that's a real waste of time and energy.
I mean, I don't know if you classify yourself as a people pleaser, but I mean, we try to make everyone happy around us, and that is that is an impossible imposition.
Yeah.
Like my daughter today was saying, like, one of her we were talking about a mock job interview she had. One of her weaknesses was, that she tries to be perfect at everything, and she knows that she can't do that, but yet she still tries to be perfect at everything. And that can be a cycle to put you. I mean, I think her biggest weakness is bugs. But I am not. I'm not correct. Oh, we told her about the Jarrell spiders today. The hand-sized spiders. Did you read about this? There's like spiders coming. Okay, so I'll show you that later. There's apparently like spiders that are like the size of your hand, and she's like, I'm just going to live indoors for the summer.
What does that mean? They're coming.
Okay, so there's like these. Okay, they're spiders, but they have infiltrated certain areas, and they've come here via attaching themselves to like people's windshields, and they also they parachute. So they have like these little webs that like their babies are attached to, and they get blown by the wind, and then they populate different areas. And apparently they're going to be arriving, or entomologists, I guess those are bug people, believe that they're going to be showing up in New York City this summer.
Well, I hate them.
So you still want to go on that cookie tour with me in the city?
I'm gonna wear like a suit. My dad has this hat that he wears on the boat. It's called the Nat hat.
You're gonna dress like a beekeeper? Is that what
I'm gonna wear the Nat hat, and nobody in New York will even bat an eye.
The Nat hat?
Bat an eyelash with me walking down through Times Square with my Nat hat on.
The Nat hat. That's great.
Are you kidding me right
now?
No,
I'm not. I will say you have to. I mean, we got to look this up. We got the convergence of two different species of cicadas. I mean,
we're not getting the cicadas though.
Yeah,
in the NJ. I looked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it would just be funny if we did, because I really think my daughter would wind up indoors all summer. You think
it would be funny? Jason's gonna hide in the closet. My husband is more afraid.
Is he gonna kick them? He's gonna kick them out of the way. He's gonna karate kick them.
I feel like he'll just have he's like the dad from My Big Fat Greek Wedding with the Windex. Like he's just gonna like try to fight them by spraying them.
Yes.
Oh no.
Anyway, we got off topic there again.
I mean,
there's so much we got to figure out. We got to figure out these special effects in StreamYard. I got to figure out if there was a bird that hit my my front window. I mean, there's so much stuff that's happening.
There's so many things.
If you are at the very close to end of your school year, we hope that you are having some plans for the summer. We are still working out our summer release schedule and things that we're going to be doing over the summer. We got some big plans for September for sure. But we definitely want to make sure that you guys are hearing and seeing some content from us throughout the summertime. And as always, buddy, I appreciate you.
As always, I appreciate you.
And I look forward to seeing you soon on the beach. So,
beach and not teaching.
Beach and not teaching, that's for sure. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next episode.
Bye.
Listening to the Balancing Act podcast. Have a topic we should discuss? Drop us a line at thebalancingactpod@gmail.com.